We did it last night. We got to Diamond 1 with the newest deck, Tenyi Swordsoul. And I'm going to be sharing with you guys. It was super easy. It took us like 5 minutes to get there. By 5 minutes, I mean it took us like 6 hours of straight playing. And we got there. We were yo-yoing back and forth in Diamond 2 for 6 hours. And then finally, we've got the final build. And just clap them all off the face of the earth. Send them all to the Shadow Realm. And I'm going to share with you guys my current build, my previous build, and explaining to you guys how to play it. And I even got a couple of replays, so make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. You guys are going to climb to Diamond 1 easy, super easy, especially with this guide here. So let's get to it. And here it is, part 1 of the double part feature of deck builds here. And Swordsoul Tenyi, this is Diamond 1 build. This is the one that helped me get to Diamond 1. In terms of cost, it cost about 360 super rare gems. You probably won't need to spend so much, because if you're going to be like buying into the packs, it's probably going to cost you a lot less. As for ultra rares, yeah, this one's going to cost you a pretty penny. It's about 630 ultra rare points to get all of them if you really want to craft everything, at least by the minimum cost. There's probably some more stuff that you can probably craft, but these are the minimum costs that you're probably going into. So entry level, pretty expensive, I would say. But anyways, in terms of what type of deck this is a mid-range aggro deck. It gets good control, good aggro, high damage, but it's very, very combo-centric when it comes to getting your play started. But recovery is the weakest part of this deck. You don't have cards that just add stuff back out of the graveyard, except for maybe like the Tenyi package. So in terms of recovery, if you're going to one card, you're not like Drytron. You can't win out of one card. You need to be able to maintain some level of card advantage, or if you're going to be committing an all-in play, you better secure the win. Otherwise, you're going to die. Alright, with that being said, let's jump into the actual deck profile before we switch it over, and I'll teach you guys how to modify the deck for little bits of it as we go along. So in terms of the monsters, starting off with Cypher Driver, we play the Gamma package, 1 Death Battle 1, that's for the Hal combo. We have double Tenyi Edhara, free special summon tuners, triple Maxi. Hand trap package wise, it's going to be Maxi, Gamma, Ash, and we're going to play maximum copies of every single one, and a Nibiru, which is for later on. You need this. But why are we playing Gamma in this deck? Well, it's because we are playing the Tenyis. Tenyis can use to bait the Ash, and if you can bait the Ash with the Tenyi, then you could basically win the entire game with the Gamma, because Gamma provides you with a tuner and a non-tuner, which means you can go into Hulk automatically. And Hulk combo builds the entire board. If you can go to Hulk, it builds everything. But being in Master Duel, because Maxi exists, unlike TCG, where if you go into that combo, basically you're going to win because there's no Maxi. They're not going to be drawing a ton of cards for advantage, therefore you can set up a ton of negates, and you know it's going to be your opponent's playing an uphill battle. But not for Master Duel. If they Maxi you, it's going to be pretty bad, and if Hulk gets negated, it's even worse, because you only have one Hulk, and the follow-up on Hulk is pretty difficult. Okay, moving on, we have Triple Moye. This is your reveal one of your Swordsoul worms to summon token, and if you synchro it up, draw one. This is same kind of deal. You banish a worm or Swordsoul card from the grave, summon the token, and then if you sync with this off, it's a Foolish Burial for a worm monster or a Swordsoul card. And then we have Incredible Ecclesia. This is, if you don't have all your Moyes, you should probably craft the Ecclesia instead, since it basically counts as a Moye. As long as you can special summon this one out, you can do it when your opponent controls more monsters than you, so this is like a free special summon as well, and also counts as a tuner. Good for playing around cards. Knowing when to synchro it is what helps you win a lot of games. And then we have one of the best ones here. We have Swordsoul Strategist Longyan. Triple Vishuddha. This is helping you basically bounce away those skill drains, help you bounce away some of the problematic cards. Also trades really well with the Baron the Fleur. And even if the Chi Shao's on board, it doesn't even matter. So you can ignore most negations. Then there's Ashina to help you get you a free special summon, but this does worm lock you. That's fine. Most of your extra deck is made out of worms. And we have one Nibiru. You should play this just because if you don't start with a long end, you're going to go into 5 summons very, very quickly, including the tokens. And therefore, these are for cross-out designated targets, as well as you nibbing your opponent if you draw into it via Maxi, or if you see it in your opening hand. Sometimes you're going to open a hand, and you're going to have to decide whether or not you have to pass your turn for free or not. And usually when you pass for free, it does mean that the other guy's a nib. So, don't play into it. Then we have one Arc Nemesis Protoss. Lots of people are playing DPE. This is one of your ways to out the DPE, like this Destiny here, Destroyer and Phoenix Enforcer, because if you manage to call Dark, your opponent will not be able to summon the DPE back out of the graveyard, nor does he get any summon at all. He can't summon anything because there's no non-dark monster for the hero stuff. So if you manage to kill the DPE with this, it's great. And even if they decide to blow up stuff, they will never be able to blow up the Protoss because Protoss cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is really, really nice. Always trades nicely. And this card is searchable with the Swordsoul search spell. Now, going to spell cards, we have Pot of Prosperity. We are playing Gamma. We don't want to banish our driver. If you banish your driver, it just feels really awkward when you play Pot of Desires into it. If you're not playing the driver package, then play Desires. That's how we played in TCG. I still recommend it, even if it does mean not playing Gamma. It's fine, I think. It's just, there's just so many hand traps. Remember, guys, after you play, you know, the coin flip of seeing who goes first or second, now you have to play the second game of rock, paper, scissors. And when I say rock, paper, scissors, it's Ash, Gamma, Crossout Designator, Call by the Grave, Max C game. Whoever that has more usually wins the game. So, and if you guys have equal amount, then you play a real game of Yu-Gi-Oh! All right. Next, we have triple Swordsoul Emergence. Luckily, this is super rare, not too bad. Adds a Swordsoul monster from your deck to your hand. You can play 3 copies of this. Okay, if you have a Synchro monster, add any Worm monster, which includes Arch Nemesis Protoss, which can provide you with that lockout. Anytime I do this against any deck, you have to contemplate between 2 choices. Do you want to blow up your own Chi Shao to lock people out of lights? It works against Swordsoul as well. Don't mind that, because Chi Shao's a light, so your opponent can't go into their Ashinas, they can't go into their Grandmasters, they can't go into Boxia. And if you're playing against like the Numeron guys, they can't even summon anything out, so they skip their turn. And now they're actually gonna die. Because you can make Baron and all that stuff next to it. So, you know, you can contemplate your decisions there. But yeah, this can search for any worm, so that's the Protoss play. Play the Swordsoul Sacred Summit, and then double Chalice. I am not playing. I'm not playing Forbidden Droplets. So I think I just want to maintain as much card advantage as possible, and this gives me the proper timing to deal with other people's DPE. If they activate their card, I just chain Chalice. They're not going to get rid of their own DPE for free, so you get to negate it, and then if you can bounce it, you can bounce it. If they leave on the field and you can Chen Ying it, you can Chen Ying it away. And then there's also double Call by the Grave, double Crossout Designator, and 1 of the trap cards. And extra deck, 1 Yazi, double Boxia. Don't forget about Boxia's affected revive cards, and Yazi, you pop itself sometime so that you can summon out the Taya. Taya can basically lead to the entire full combo. It's pretty disgusting, and it's very, very fun. If you worm lock yourself and you need an 8 or generic 8, then you have Draco Berserker, the Tenyi. You can have Adamancipator Dragite, so that because you have a water already, so you have the spell trap negation. Double Chi Shao to search your cards and help you extend. Chao Feng comes up from time to time. You can cut this if you don't need it. It's a very expensive card that gets played very, very few times. 1 Baron. You can make another Baron if you want. 1 Chen Ying. Double Monk. 1 Halki Fyrax. 1 Shaman of the Tenyi. And don't forget, Shaman of the Tenyi can revive some of your Swordsoul monsters. It's just that your extra deck cards can't activate unless they are, well, Draco Berserker. Or anything with a Tenyi name, but it's still very, very useful, and you also use the Monk and this effect to kind of pop cards and stuff like that. And then there is Mecha Fanabeast Aurora Dawn. This leads to the full play because with the Despot, you can synchro into the 7, and then you can go use this effect to pop your own Yazi. So that's how you do the opening play. So this is my current build. If you want to alter the build and play Pot of Desires instead, by all means go for it. Just take out the Gammas, switch them for like DD Crows or something. It's definitely worth it, I would say. So, and you have like basically doubles of everything, and there's nothing like that is a one of that, you know, is super centric to a combo, except for maybe like a Despot 1. But you don't even need to play that as well. You can cut that as well and just, you know, play an even 40. And here's a quick glance at the DPE build. Nothing really too different aside from we're playing triple Ecclesia now. We took out the Despot, we took out the Gammas in favor of DD Crow, and we're playing Fusion Destiny, and we had to also add in a Celestial and a Dasher so that we have something to send with Fusion Destiny. Yes, these are the bricks of the deck. If you draw into it, it just means you have 1 card less, and if you draw it with the Fusion Destiny, yeah, then your Fusion Destiny gets a little bit more expensive. But ultimately, this build, and in the case of a best of 1, this is probably as good as it gets. I would say it's probably really, really good. But you can also switch out your pot for Pot of Desires if you're willing to take the gamble of, I won't banish a Celestial or a Dasher. But since this is computer RNG, I don't know how that's going to work out for you. You get super lucky, or you can get not lucky at all. Or you can play more cards so that there's less likelihood of hitting those cards. But that's just me giving you guys an opinion here. As for the extra deck, we kind of retuned it a little bit. No Despot, no Hulk, no Aurora Dawn. We added in the Destiny Hero, Destroyer, Phoenix Enforcer, the DPE, a Vertanicana, just in case you can make it. Like your stuff gets negated, you get a free summon somewhere. I think it might be still worth it. And then I put in a Ruddy Rose Dragon, just as an additional backup because we're not playing the Chaofeng. So with the Ruddy Rose Dragon, if you're playing against Sky Striker or anyone playing DPE, your follow-up, if you can summon the long end later on in the turn, then you can go into this and just wipe them all out, empty out their graveyard so that they don't have their Dasher, they don't have their Celestial, they don't have their DPE. So the graveyard's empty, so they're playing with a simplified game state while they have to deal with like a 3200 beat stick. That's the rundown. This is really powerful, very consistent, and let's get into some of the replays. Alright, so these are all diamond level replays. Starting with this first one, this is going to teach you essentially the basics of Swordsoul and risk management. So this particular hand is actually really good because you have every single line available to you, but there's one particular line that is a little bit safer than the rest, which is a Swordsoul monster started with a Baron. I'm not going to do the How combo in this particular case, probably because I was jaded by an Imperm, and if I do the How combo in this one in particular, like I had a choice here, because both of these are tuners. I could have went into the Hauky Vibrax. If I went to the Hauk, that means I can get the Despot, and then Despot go to Auroradon and do the whole shebang, but the problem is, if Hauk gets Impermed, I'm going to be forced to negate it, and then Nibiru can drop down, and I would lose my entire board. I wasn't going to take that risk. I can deal with every other hand trap simply by using Call by the Grave in this case. So at least I won't lose my entire board, so I decided to go with that. So I went to Taya. Taya banished the long end, summoned up the token. He changed an Effect Veiler. So that's why we held on to the Call by the Grave. I get that I could have probably used the Call by the Grave there as well, but I just wasn't taking that risk. So here we go. Gonna banish the Veiler. And Veiler is kind of a weird hand trap right now. Not exactly the strongest, not exactly the weakest either. It's still pretty good against Swordsoul because Swordsoul need their effects to go off to generate that token. Except for Longen, of course, which activates in the hand. So we're going to synchro the token and the Taya into a Chi-Sha. Chi-Sha's going to activate, and then Chain Link 2, we're going to use Taya. Don't forget to change your setting, or else your setting is always going to put... If you don't have auto settings, Chi-Sha's going to be Chain Link 2. You should switch your settings. And we add the Emergence, and we milled an Ashuna. And because we have the synchros, we use Emergence to add Protoss. Protoss banish 3 different attributes, which is really good. And we kept the Ashuna in the graveyard, summon out the Adhara so we can have a little bit of recover. We called Dark on, try to destroy all Darks on the field. So now no one can special summon out Darks, which is pretty good. So see, they started with an Imperm, or maybe they already had the Imperm. I think that was good that I was able to dodge that. They start off with a Pankratoss. Pankratoss ram into that. Yeah, I put in defensive because I was a little afraid of Lightning Storm. And then he's going to go ahead and use his effect. So I'm forced to chain the Baron de Fleur. So at this very moment, I thought this person was just like one of those going second decks until they revealed the Sky Striker Engage, and I have no more effects to stop it. I'm basically in the passenger seat watching the play happen, and he's going to use his Ray. Note that if Ray does die, or rather this Kagari does somehow die right now, that Ray will not be able to come back because no Dark Monster can be special summoned at this moment. So now he gets to add his Engage again. He uses Engage again, adds a multi-roll. And he proceeds to turn it into a Shizuku. This part, like, it does look like the game's in the bag, but it technically wasn't. And I knew it wasn't the moment we hit the end phase, because he's added a Widow Anchor. He decided to activate Widow Anchor so he can reset it back into the field thanks to that. But what on top of that, more was that there was a Shark Cannon. So from this point, he's going to reset the 2 cards, and knowing that that's going to happen, most likely what's going to happen is that the Widow Anchor is there to stop Protoss from Dark Locking so that the Ray can come back and then hopefully he can survive the turn. He's just hoping to survive. I drew into an Emergence. I got basically everything I need. The Longyang was added to hand previously, so we get to summon it out. Another 10. This Chen Ying now proves to be the main obstacle now. This is like a perfect counterplay to whatever he's doing, because if he activates one of his back row to stop the Protoss, then this will activate and it's going to banish the Ray anyway. So this was a full counterplay. There was nothing else left. So Longen gets the burn. This game is basically call the Dark. He's going to negate it, but this is going to banish because it came back from the Anchor. Sorry, not the Anchor. It came back from the multi-roll. So that gets banished. This gets triggered. Shizuku dies, and the Ray dies. If you play against Sky Striker, Chen Ying basically wins the game. And essentially, that would be the end of the first game. Alright, replay number 2. This is going second, no hand trap. How do you play through certain boards now? We're dealing with Tri-Brigade. no hand trap, they basically get the full combo. I hope he's doing everything correctly. He adds a kit. Okay. Grabs a kit effect. Banish 2, summon out Bearbrum. Bearbrum effect summoned back. That I did not expect. There was a Gamma, a driver sent away, and there's the Verte Anaconda. I see where this is going. So this is the Tri-Brigade DPE. And he gets fused into Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. This is usually a very bad position for me to be in, especially when he pops his own Bearbrum. And he gets to add the Revolt, and then he gets to reset his cards, and basically he gets to like plus 1,000,000 on me next turn. So this simple board is already like super threatening. And I don't exactly have everything to answer for this. And he chains a Max C. So basically I'm eating a Max C combo plus Destroy Phoenix Enforcer, and I'm going to get my stuff banished. Alright, you know, that seems pretty fair. He's already drawing cards right from the first play. Second card from Monk of the Tenyi. With the Adhara, we're gambling now. We're hoping that he doesn't draw into a Nibiru. We use the effect, and we get ashed. So we couldn't even add a card or special summon a card with Ashuna, so that's a pretty limited play. So we're getting hit by at least 2 disruptions now. This is going to be a pretty epic one for me. So then we go into the Howl combo. This is bait. This is all bait. The Howl combo exists for a reason. It exists to bait out your opponent. He left it. I'm so surprised that he actually left this on the board, because this has like more value than the Hulk. So now we perform our normal summon with the Moye effect with Long Yen, and now we are going to eat it. So now he goes for the Revolt. He's going to Revolt for 4 and trigger 2 effects along the way. A third one including the Shurig. Oh, so I'm not my token now. Now I'm locked into Synchro Summoning only, because that token has a limitation. Shurig banishes the Moye, of course. However, the game's not over. We still have follow-up, but this is why where Long Yen comes in. We're going to send the Adhara that's stuck in our hand, and now we're going to Synchro away. And Baron it is. Baron makes it a lot safer for us to play. We're going to be able to burn him. We're going to activate the effect of Adhara to add the Ashuna back into our hand. Summon out the Protoss. Activate Protoss effect. And because he used the effect of DPE, we get to hit him really hard and basically make a full counterplay out of that, even though he has like a bajillion cards. This is how you would play through your opponent's board. Okay, for this replay, I'm going to fast forward through this part. I throw a Maxi, nothing really happens, and he passes turn. And someone's getting Nib, but it's definitely not my opponent. Okay, so we're just gonna fast through this. We're gonna showcase to you guys what got burned. Yes, in this build we're testing Vessel at the time, so that we could send more cards into the graveyard, add more cards back into our hand, because you can add Tenyis with this card. So now we gotta synchro into a Chi-Xiao, and Chi-Xiao is going to add a card at the emergence, and we have the Ashuna. We burn our emergence to add a Long Yen, and this is what I mean by this particular line is super Nib risky, because here's the giant ass Nib. And of course, now we get screwed. Now here's our follow-up. So we haven't normal summoned yet, so our normal summon is going to be the Adhara. We special summoned an Astronaut just in case we needed an extra body. And we did need this extra body. So we go into Hulk, now that we don't have to worry about Nib anymore. So now we proceed to take the Despot 01 and go into the Auroradon. Summon out the 3 tokens. That's going to summon back the Despot. Alright. So Despot's been summoned back. Synchro with the 3/3/1. We go into a 7. Yazi's effect, we're going to pop the Nib. If you can't pop, say, if you're doing this combo blank, no board on the other side, then you would use Auroradon Tribute itself, pop the Yazi, get the effect to go off. That's what you would do. So now we summon out the Taya with the Yazi effect, and we banish the spell, summon out the token. Now we go into the next monster. Chi-Xiao's already burned, so we need to go for something with big damage. We're trying to push for 8,000 damage, and lucky for us, Taya, when synchroed, it does mill a card, and we still have a card in the graveyard. We milled in Ashuna. Ashuna summoned Adhara. Adhara now goes for another 3,000 beat stick, which is Draco Berserker, and from here we just took game. See, we played into the Nib, and we still killed them. This is the power of Tenyi Swordsoul. That's all I got for this video, guys. As a little bit of a shameless self-plug, don't forget to check out MSTmerch.com, where you can get some awesome TCG accessories, including the White V2s, also known as Pearl Whites. The new label is coming in soon, I swear, guys. And if you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, including myself on stream, well, follow me on Twitch, hit subscribe, ding notification bell, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Good luck, duelists, and I pray you guys don't brick in the future.